Clear terms are less likely to startle a seller and more likely to secure their endorsement for a seller's note.
Welcome to today's English lesson. In this session, we will explore the captivating world of Zero to Millions, Sarah Moore's Guide to Seller's Notes. We have a carefully crafted dialogue to introduce you to the vocabulary needed to understand seller's notes. Phrasal verbs such as strip away, comes across, sifted through, and come in will be covered, along with idioms and phrases like safeguard against, an eye for detail, and dilute ownership. Comprehension questions will test your understanding, and exercises will reinforce your knowledge. Get ready to be captivated and enlightened as we delve into this fascinating subject. Let's begin.
Enzo, a keen-eyed entrepreneur with an eye for detail, sat in his opulent study surrounded by shelves of business books that smelt of leather and success. The evening sun cast a golden glow on the room's dark mahogany. He was absorbed in the financial intricacies of acquiring a business when his butler, a wellspring of wisdom, discreetly entered the room.
A good evening, sir. It appears you're deeply engrossed. Might I offer some insight?
Butler, I'm trying to figure out how to finance this business deal without accumulating too much debt or diluting ownership.
A judicious strategy, sir. I recently came across a method in the podcast My First Million where Sarah Moore acquired an egg cartoons business without any upfront cash. It involved something known as a seller's note.
Seller's note, what exactly does that entail?
Picture this, sir. You're purchasing a valuable asset, say a company. Instead of paying the total price up front, you pay a portion and the rest over time through a seller's note. This means the seller is essentially financing the purchase, allowing you to spread out the payments.
So it lightens the initial financial load.
Exactly, sir. It's especially advantageous if the seller believes in the robustness of their enterprise, akin to having confidence in a thoroughbred's future wins.
And if the business underperforms?
Well considered, sir. You can incorporate conditions into the seller's note for such occurrences. If the profits falter, part of the note might be waived. Consider it a safeguard against unforeseen downturns.
How does one persuade a seller to accept these conditions?
Trust is key, sir. Launch negotiations with clarity and simplicity. The more transparent the terms, the less friction you'll encounter.
Simplicity is the goal then. No extravagant complexities needed.
Precisely, sir. Clear terms are less likely to startle a seller and more likely to secure their endorsement for a seller's note.
But convincing a bank to see a seller's note as equity, how does that work?
That's where finesse comes in, sir. You must swiftly guide the bank to perceive the seller's note as an investment on your part, rather than a mere obligation.
So the plan is to strip away the complexity and make the transaction as straightforward as possible.
Indeed, sir. Clear-cut deals resonate well with savvy business owners, regardless of their educational background.
And how does one avoid being disadvantaged by their own educational gaps?
Sometimes, sir, a little naivety can be a strategic advantage. You needn't inflate your language with business school jargon. A clear grasp of the basics often trumps intricate knowledge.
That's refreshing to hear, Butler, but what about the inherent risks?
A valid concern, sir. You can fine-tune the agreement to include protective clauses should the business not perform as expected.
What if the bank fails to grasp the concept?
You must sift through until you find a bank that can appreciate the value of what you're offering, sir. Present the seller's note as an asset, not a detriment.
It seems proactive negotiation is essential.
Correct, sir. The art of negotiation is akin to a strategic game. Be ready to withdraw if the deal is unsuitable, while remaining vigilant for the right opportunity.
Navigating this seems quite complex, Butler.
It is a nuanced process, sir. Remember, closing the deal is the commencement of a new chapter. Ignite your leadership qualities and steer the business to prosperity.
Much to consider, Butler. Your guidance has untangled many of my concerns.
Always at your service, sir. Shall I leave you to your reflections?
The butler bowed slightly and made his way out, leaving Enzo to his thoughts, now illuminated with newfound clarity on navigating his business acquisition.
Comprehension questions. Question number 1. How can a buyer persuade a seller to accept conditions in a seller's note? Question number 2. How can a buyer fine-tune the agreement to protect themselves against potential risks? Question number 3. What is the art of negotiation comparable to? Question number 4. How can a buyer lighten the initial financial load when purchasing a valuable asset? Vocabulary multi-choice. The entrepreneur retained full what of his startup even after receiving funding from investors. A. Grasp. B. Ownership. C. Custody. D. Control. E. Confidence. Developing a clear and what marketing plan is crucial for attracting new customers. A. Strategic. B. Prosperity. C. Payment. D. Detailed. E. Effective. Despite facing challenges, the company refuses to what and continues to drive sales forward. A. Acquire. B. Falter. C. Quit. D. Incorporate. E. Sell. Avoid the temptation to what your sales numbers to impress shareholders or investors. A. Alter. B. Savvy. C. Use. D. Inflate. E. Simplicity. Phrasal verbs multi-choice. The bank must what the potential of the business to grant a loan. A. Believe in. B. Reign of. C. Trust of. D. Factor in. E. Believe is. Negotiating skills. What? Handy when closing a business deal. A. Come extremely. B. Come in. C. Especially. D. In. E. Into. Enzo needs to what? How to optimize the payment structure of the seller's note. A. Sort out. B. Work out. C. Figure exactly. D. Figure out. E. Find about. Enzo, what? Multiple potential buyers before finding the perfect fit. A. Searched through. B. Sifted through. C. Looked out. D. Sifted past. E. Searched over. Idioms and phrases. Definition: having the ability to notice and pay attention to small details. A. An eye for detail. B. Dilute ownership. C. Safeguard against. Definition: something that provides protection or prevents harm or loss. A. Safeguard against. B. Dilute ownership. C. An eye for detail. Definition: decrease the percentage of ownership in a company. A. Dilute ownership. B. Safeguard against. C. An eye for detail.
I express my utmost gratitude for your attentive ear. If you enjoyed this lesson, kindly subscribe and share it with your friends. Should you seek further enlightenment in the intricacies of the English language, I do cordially invite you to pay a visit to Enzo's Butler Club and join our growing community of English enthusiasts. I am Enzo's Butler, always at your service.